Disclaimer, I do not hate CinemaSins, I enjoy their videos, and that is not a lie. For my next Everything Wrong with CinemaSins video, I'm going to be singing their video on Lilo and Stitch, and I would also like to dedicate the video to my teacher, Zolia Laracea.
Ah yes, the good old days when Disney logos didn't have to conform to whatever movie. Well,
Well, for Atlantis the Lost Empire, they made the logo look like this.
Opposed to the Galactic Federation headquarters on planet Zenzion?
That is not a sin.
Be it from me to give Disney new spin-off ideas, but if it's gonna happen, I need a full TV series on Disney Plus about this side-eyed teddy bear. I'm assuming his name is Mr. Pookie McFluffentuft, and he's fed up with your bullshit.
Just because you have ideas for Disney Plus doesn't make that a sin for this film.
What the hell is this? That's just the number 3. Looks like someone was struggling with a bout of Gliffer's block.
Have you noticed the other numbers, though?
Everyone reacts to a made-up language like they just said something super offensive, even though everyone has been speaking English up until now, cliché.
Well, they are aliens, so they surely have their own language.
Subtitled alien locations for every new room? I think we get the idea without having it spelled out. Even the kiddos. In fact, especially the kiddos.
I'm pretty sure kids would understand this without the captions.
Those lasers just blasted through a security door a moment ago, but now they can't penetrate this material? Stitch is looking pretty badass, but his escape isn't adding up. I smell an inside job.
Well, lasers can't penetrate everything, can they?
Also, are we sure Stitch knocked out the power? Captain Shoot Now and Ask Later is looking like a strong candidate for the incident report.
Yes, because the power is out. Isn't it obvious?
Stitch starts shooting at the fleet, and I guess the fleet can't be bothered to shoot his ship down, because after all, he was banished and not sentenced to death, and you must follow the court's orders no matter what.
Well, they have to catch him somehow, don't they?
Quadrant 17, Section 005, Area 51.
Har har.
I don't see how that's funny.
Planet called Yarth.
You speak our language fluently. How do you not know our planet's name?
Maybe because these aliens aren't too familiar with Earth?
We have to guess the planet.
Hold everything!
Conveniently quirky scientist who just happens to know everything about Earth and has a Viewmaster presentation at the ready, even though it just came up in the last 60 seconds, is quirky and convenient.
Actually, Pleakley says that he doesn't know everything about Earth.
Paper about Jumba mere hours after the incident. And why are there aliens publishing newspapers?
Cartoon logic, Jeremy, which is one answer you get many times from people.
And he's been in jail for an hour and already has a photo collection.
Or maybe they're photos he's had before the events of this movie.
Plasma cannon granted. Do we have a bargain, Dr. Jumba?
Sure, give the guy who just self-described himself as an evil genius a plasma cannon, because this seems like exactly the thing that will bring about solution.
Well, it seems obvious to give the job to Jumba, because he created Stitch.
Vonda did it better.
I'm starting my first cliche. Whenever Jeremy says a random thing, he gets 10 sins.
You know, this is one of the weirdest credits ever put into a film, based on a freaking idea. Chris, we're gonna go with your idea, but we can only pay you idea money, and you will be compensated as such. I know that's not as much as dream money, but...
This is a movie adapted from a children's book by Chris Sanders that never came to be. In case you need to know why, this is listed in the opening credits.
So, this never would have happened if he had cast Moana.
This movie came out 14 years before Moana did.
So Nani was on the way to pick up Lilo at her massive failure of a dance recital, only to find out that Lilo had left before she got there. But how did Lilo get back to the house without Nani seeing her, since it appears there's only one way to get here? Furthermore, how did Lilo have time to nail the door shut? And I guess she also did this to the back door since Nani isn't even trying it. And why doesn't she have a house key?
Movie later shows that Lilo did not nail the back door, as Nani easily enters through that door when Cobra arrives.
So, how is this supposed to indicate that Lilo nailed the door shut? By pounding nails partially into a frame? How does this magic work?
Again, cartoon logic.
Okay. Also, Nani is a terrible human being who should have Lilo taken away from her immediately, and no amount of animated bullshit redemption will change my mind on this.
Imagine losing both of your parents in a car accident, becoming the breadwinner for your younger sister, having a social worker trying to take her away, trying to convince him otherwise, and being called terrible. That's worth 400 sins.
In case you're wondering, this did not go well. You have 3 days to change my mind.
How the f*** does that work? You already suspect the worst. So what does 3 days do? This isn't a failed emissions test where you either fix your car or you use one of the many cheats to pass on it. Like, quite literally, it looks like all Nani has to do is clean the house and make sure the front door isn't nailed shut, and she'll be considered a fit guardian.
Yes, but he also doubts Nani because of Lilo misinterpreting the hand signals, as well as what he saw at the house.
Like a pretty intricate and unnecessary plan. You know, she's in the washer, and it's not like she really has anywhere to go if you open that door.
Well, in another version of this film, Lilo hides behind a pizza box, which is more obvious to Nani.
Talk for a sec about Lilo's early onset fat fetish. At some point, a childhood quirk of photographing large white people's close-up places becomes something to discuss with a professional. Otherwise, you might grow up to be Tom Ford directing Nocturnal Animals.
That is neither addressed nor has anything to do with this film.
Where are these guns even coming from?
Cartoon logic, Jeremy. I already said this.
Plus today?
That's a lowercase t, not a plus.
Awesome shout out to the animation studios that helped make Lilo and Stitch possible. But what a ridiculous place to put it. It's like you're saying that the characters in this movie can't see it or won't read it and wonder what the f*** it's talking about. Hell, it even contains the name Lilo. And the name Lilo gives the creature right after this contract is signed. Which would make me think this animal shelter dabbles in witchcraft.
Or maybe it's just an Easter egg.
Is this movie? The middle of the road is not an appropriate place to apologize for biting someone. I feel like this would be covered in kindergarten.
Yes, but there are no cars, are there?
Did you catch fire again?
God help this movie if I see someone do one Mockingjay gesture.
Jeremy says something random cliche.
Gotta go. The kid at table 3's throwing poi again.
Because how else would Hawaii be a character in this movie if it wasn't for the casual poi reference?
The movie has already established Hawaii as the main setting.
The manager's a vampire, and he wanted me to join his Legion of the Undead.
I almost said I'd rather watch that movie, but I'm pretty sure that's the plot to Hotel Transylvania 3, so I'm good.
Two things. Nani was joking, and what she said is not the plot of Hotel Transylvania 3.
This is a great poem. You'll like it a lot.
Is this movie seriously trying to tell me that they haven't been home once since they got Stitch? What?
Yes, the movie showed scenes of them after adopting Stitch.
And of Dumbo, a sequel that should never be made.
Yes, but it won't be made anyway, because the direct-to-video sequel lineup ended in 2008.
What are you doing?
Nothing?
Say, I want to try it on.
No!
Movie has time for this.
You understand that movies need comedy, right, Jeremy?
I cannot ignore you being jobless. Do I make myself clear?
This is just a reminder that the social services guy even exists. He said he'd be back in 3 days, so I don't understand why he's back now, just to give Nani a warning.
Cobra literally says he heard Nani lost her job. Also, I'm starting another cliche. Whenever they ask for things they pretend the movie doesn't address, I give them 30 sins.
On your hips. Now follow my lead.
Unplanned synchronized choreography.
Well, this is Lilo's way of teaching Stitch how to be a model citizen.
It's supposed to be a sad moment, but I will refer you to the multiple sins where I talked about how terrible a parent Nani is, and how she didn't bother to do anything after 3 failed
175 more sins for calling Nani a terrible parent.
Know that there's no better cure for a sour face than a couple of boards and some choice waves.
I think that's a great idea.
Does this boards and waves thing you're talking about mean she'll get a job? Because that's the main issue with her life right now. The social services guy demands it, and there's a time crunch.
No, David is obviously trying to help them after their bad day.
I'll take you to the surfing montage, because this movie that can barely stretch past 80 minutes would rather spend its precious time on another song than the whole space story part that we haven't checked in on in the last 20 minutes, even though I'm thinking it's the center of this one thing I've heard about called the plot.
How are you unaware that these characters are the main focus of the story?
Know nothing about surfing, but isn't riding one with a little girl on it dangerous? Like, it might change the weight and the maneuverability of the board. I don't know, which is why I'll send it and ask for forgiveness later.
Does this not reach your perception skills? The movie is clearly showing that that isn't happening.
Even holding on to on this board. What kind of assholes do this?
She's clearly holding on to the board before flipping in the air.
Honey's tireless job search continues, but the poor woman just can't drum up any luck.
What does that have to do with this scene, though?
Need to think about what's best for Lilo, even if it removes you from the picture.
This is 100% abso-freaking-lutely true, and I'm not sure why the movie is trying to convince us otherwise.
Have you even paid attention? The movie is clearly showing that Nani loves Lilo and is trying not to lose her. Another 70 sins.
Ah, yes, the traditional Hawaiian song you sing when social services declares you an unfit guardian, just like Colonel James Harbottle.
There's no Hawaiian song for that, Jeremy.
That's us before.
Disney remember there must be a dead parent?
Yes, but not in every movie.
I think I found you a job.
Okay, so how does this change the social services guy seeing Nani nearly drowning Lilo yesterday? Isn't that the reason why he's coming to take her away?
Two things. Nani wasn't the cause of Lilo nearly drowning, and Cobra wants to take her away because he believes Nani cannot take adequate care of her sister.
Do your research when buying dinnerware. Look for descriptions that read plates made from unbreakable ceramic that maintains lustrous coating when hurled through roofing material.
In the world of animation, anything is possible, Mr. I don't understand.
2 captures Lilo and Stitch and throws them into a jar, which attaches to the ship on the outside. All this alien technology and knowledge, and you store shit on the outside of your ship?
I don't see how that counts as a sin for this film.
Pyramid 626 is in custody.
Yeah, but didn't the commander tell them that they were fired and prison bound? Was it implied that as long as they tried really hard that they wouldn't be fired and prison bound? Blakely doesn't even wait for an answer, which should have been met with confusion since everyone thinks Gantu has Stitch.
What makes you say that everyone thinks Gantu has Stitch? The movie clearly shows Jumpa sitting on him.
Look at the bright side. You won't have to yell at anyone anymore.
I'm not sure I ever realized how terrifyingly dark this movie is. Are we sure Fincher didn't direct it?
This movie is not really dark, and also, Jeremy says something random cliche.
Somebody who watches the skies for a living has noticed 2 spaceships flying around Earth the past 2 days.
That is neither mentioned nor addressed in this film.
Part of their plan to run into the ship that Lilo is unsecured in? I'm sorry, that's just dumb, and all that's left in that container is a Lilo pup.
You do know that main characters never die, right?
Nice. Are we doing the A113 thing? Except we've already seen that license plate in Lilo's room and on a fire truck. Considering states won't issue the same plate twice, you've officially over Easter egged. Congratulations, Disney. You played yourself.
Well, Easter eggs can appear more than one time.
No. No f***ing way. I'll suspend my disbelief for cartoon physics occasionally, but damn.
Third new cliche. Whenever animation is taken seriously, I give 80 sins.
Tiring you, Captain Gantu.
Geez, this councilwoman sure does make snap decisions based on very small sample sizes. This is completely against her character as introduced, when she asked the council to give Stitch a chance to prove himself at the beginning of the movie, even though he was considered an abomination. I guess that experience turned her into George Steinbrenner, and for all you crazy kids who don't know who George Steinbrenner is, just know he fired people on the New York Yankees a lot, including one guy 5 times.
2 things. Gantu is obviously fired for kidnapping Lilo, and George Steinbrenner has nothing to do with this movie.
You'll be lucky if you end up on a fluff trog farm after we sort this thing out.
Whoa there, movie. Give an earmuffs warning for the wee ones in the audience.
Pretty sure kids doing Fluff Trog Farm won't bother their parents.
So, in an intergalactic court, a judge would tell this girl that because the council's decision to banish Stitch to an asteroid came before said contract was signed, that whatever is contained in the contract is null and void, including, and especially, the shoutouts to the Florida Feature Animation Studio, the California and Paris Feature Animation Studios, and Disney MGM.
The Grand Councilwoman is letting Stitch stay with Nani and Lilo because she's surprised by how much he's changed.
Be easy to explain back at headquarters.
Bubbles is going to go back and tell his people at social services that Nani, who was a horrible guardian, suddenly became a great one, after all the reports to the contrary. And he probably can't bring up aliens without being sent to a psych ward, so either way, Bubbles will be out of a job because we want Lilo and Stitch to continue having adventures.
175 more sins for calling Nani a horrible guardian again. Thanks for making me deliver your sin order again. And here's the end result, everybody. The sin total was 1,048, and the sentence will be dogtrosity. Thank you for watching, everybody, and have a nice day.